Yep, you got it. Remember what I said about inevitability? Yeah, it's always there waiting to snatch you out of reality into the abyss of the unknown and for unforgiving. The epoxy, yeah, was what I guessed. It was out of date. It must have been because either that or I didn't get the right amount of mix, but I think it was mostly out of date because I think I had that back when my doggy was still alive, and that was 3, 4, 5, and 7. Well, it was next month will be a year he died. So yeah, the epoxy. There it is. Yeah, I'd already tried some. I already tried some. Come on, fricus. I already had put some on the inside here. I scraped all the old, well, I scraped all the epoxy off of the inside and what I could on the outside, but I didn't get enough of it on the outside here, on the end. I got it pretty good on there, and then I scuffed it really good with an abrasive grinding tip, and got some, and I tried it out, and then I did the alignment. I managed to get the alignment done on the thing, and then it started slipping periodically again, not all the way, but it was doing it some. You know, with the addition of the string and the dial pointer onto the thing and the turns on the string, it was throwing a little bit more friction in the process. So it was biting me in the donkey. So I went ahead and took my grinding wheel and ground all the end down to raw metal, and then went on it with that cap. And I think that's gonna do it. But I'm gonna have to let it set overnight till tomorrow. Today is Tuesday, the 7th of May, 2024. I thought I'd get this little in here while I still had it apart, so you could see. I took this apart once before for the one before this one, and now for this one, because it didn't hold the first time. So this is the second iteration of this process, and it gave me an opportunity to look at this boost assembly. And this one button shaft, it was, I think the contacts were just separated enough where it wasn't making contact, or it was making. If you jiggled it, you'd get a change in it. The other two worked just fine. It's just this one. I don't know why it's always one out of the whole bunch that just, yeah. Well, for one thing, the design is a little iffy. You get it bound up and everything, and you're liable to separate those contacts, and when it's in one position or the other position, it's liable not to work or not work. So anyway, it's about 5:45. We're gonna let it cure up the rest of the night, and then we're gonna come back tomorrow. I have a post-op with my PCP on Thursday. That's only going to take probably about half an hour, and And then I got a telemed with my urologist office on Friday. Find out when and what and how come. And so I might be making it. I still yet to hear from. Geez, man, my mind isn't working right now. I got so many things going through it. To get a call from. The people in Prescott. So where I got my bag and catheter removed. It'll either be removed during the week after this week or next week or the end of this week. I'm not sure what. I either got to call them or they're going to call me. So I imagine I'm probably going to have to call them. So enough gibby gabby. Duck. So we're out of here. We'll have some more tomorrow. Alrighty, today is Wednesday, the 8th of May, and we're out here this morning, about 8 o'clock, on the way for a great looking day. I gave this thing an opportunity to really cure up overnight. I didn't want to mess with it and get a little too ahead of myself, so I decided to let it just sit for the night, and it is hard as a rock. And we've got it shaped into a dome on the back, and would be a dome on the front if we didn't have the shaft in the way. So we managed to get all of that even Steven across the entire circumference. So now we can put this thing back together and hope for the best. So let me go ahead and prep this up and get it up into here, and we'll take a second look at it. Okay, there we are. This assembly is all back together. The saw blade is up tight against the rubber, and this deck tuner is fastened back in. I didn't put the braiding on it yet because I'm not going to get ahead of myself on that. I'm going to test this out first, and so yeah. Yeah, yabba dabba doo. Okay, you did it, Queeks Draw. Thank you, Bubba. So now that we got that, yeah, boy. Okay, that was a learning curve. You see what I mean when I said a couple of videos ago that you learn to remember what you've seen in the past, and I mean you can try other things, yeah, new and improved or whatever they call it. Unfortunately, my epoxy was outdated. I'm sure that was the case, and I probably got my mixing a little screwed up because those things don't deliver evenly. But this one here, we dialed it in with that because it dries hard as steel. And that's what it needed. I mean, there's a lot of friction there, but it's going to even out later as this thing gets operated, and I bet you anything it's going to get operated a lot in the future. So, I mean, hopefully this stuff will last. I'm pretty sure it should. So anyway, we managed that. So I told you this assembly right here was not a problem. It was getting to be a problem because this was tried and that didn't work and that didn't work, and but you keep at it, you're gonna come up with aces. So now I can put all the other little doodads back in and get the tubes oh yeah, that's another thing. I think I mentioned that I did an alignment on this thing, and I had an issue with a couple of things during the thing, but not generally in the front end of the thing. On the shortwave, mainly the spread band. I couldn't get it dialed in. I could get something to show up, but it would come to find out, I decided get the tubes checked. So when I did this thing, I dropped out all the tubes. This one here was one of the first ones tested, and it came up good and strong. For a loctile, a loctile, and the socket is right there. I mean, it's tight, and it works the way you're supposed to. See, you'll have to jiggle it and wiggle it to get it out, but I mean, it locks in real good. The problem is not the tube. It's the socket. And you get those other early sockets that are phenolic like that. This one here is more ceramic. You can't, these here you can squeeze up, and the pins are more beefy. But these pins here, you cannot get to those things unless there is a little excess exposed from the top. You can't get to them from the bottom. Likewise, the other ones, the early wafer ones, you can't squeeze those things together, not very good, and they won't stay. Those were original thinking. They improved it over time. So that's the only problem with the loctiles that I see, is the socket. Not the tube, it's the socket. Now I'm going to go ahead and put these soldered back on, get the tubes back on it. I think 3 tubes. These here are B7s. I think they're B7. No, they're not B7s. These dope. These are 6s. 6 SKs. The SK7s here, had to replace both those. The J5, it's in the iffy zone. It's nearly a 1. It almost makes the green. It probably should be replaced, but it's probably no real demand on it right now. The Q7s, I had to replace one of these. These here, I believe, were glass tubes. I think I got glass tubes to go back in here. One is a metal tube on the K7, the other one is a glass tube. I'm gonna have to order some up. But the output tubes, good and strong. The rectifier tube, good and strong. We're gonna see. We're gonna do another. We're gonna do another full alignment on this thing again, and see what we get out of it. So hang on, we'll have a little bit more coming after we get that accomplished. All right, it's still Wednesday afternoon. I think it's about 4:30 in the evening. Taking a quick look at this cabinet. We just sprayed it a couple of hours ago for trim. my typical brushed, what is it? Gee, I reckon for a second. It's, let me find out. I hate days like this. Oil rubbed bronze metallic. That's what we got on all the trim pieces, which is mostly all the hardwood. Down this edge, this is all hardwood, that is all hardwood. Down that edge, this edge, and around the base. Believe me, that was some tape job. You got to mask off on that. Now, what I did with the finishes. Now I got, I think, 4 coats of clear poly on the cabinet total prior to doing the trim. What I decided to do was go ahead and mask it today, do the trim on the thing, and then we'll remove the masking and then hit all the exposed edges, face, pillars, sides, this area of the top, that area of the top, and all this, both sides, and we'll sand it back a little bit. I think I could probably get this grain filled with poly alone, because it's getting there. It's almost there. I sand a pretty good chunk, a couple of layers of poly off of that. It'll probably schmooze out a lot more. And then I'm going to hit the trim areas with like 600 or something like that. I don't want to take it all the way back down to where I have to shoot it again. And then once we get this is going to get probably, I'll try it with 600 first, and if it doesn't do it, if it's not cutting it, I'm going to hit it with a 400 and then a 600. The pillars are pretty smooth. It's the valley in here, the front, all the front, that's kind of got minimized crazing now because of the 4 coats of poly on it. But I think if I can hit it with some 400, 600, this, and this, and we shoot it again with 2 or 3 more coats, I think we can get her pretty much smoothed out. Up here, same goes with this. We'll get 2 or 3 coats on all over. So, and I probably won't get to that until tomorrow, because I'm gonna let this cure up a little bit more so that it hardens all the way through. I got a couple of light coats of primer on here, so that's it for the cabinet, preliminary on the cabinet. We'll see what it does by the weekend. Now, as far as the chassis is concerned, I'm not sure if I covered it in the last video segment, in the prior video segment, but yeah, this thing was doing it to me again. This front piece right here, it get to a short little port, not even a quarter of the diameter, probably about, well, maybe a quarter. No, not a quarter, about an eighth maybe. of the circumference was wasn't bonded to the shaft. It wasn't bonded good enough to the shaft. So I had to grind that all back down again and go on there with some new stuff in a different different kind of glopping, I guess you call it. So we're gonna let that sit too tonight, and let it go super hard. I went heavy on the hardener. So, but other than that, I mean, it worked great. But I kind of figured, you know, over time it would, you know, and I gotta have it right before it goes. Before I release it, I gotta ensure that it's gonna do what it needs to do all the time. So what I did was I swapped out the SQ7 tubes. They were GT tubes. I found me a couple of metal cans and swapped them out. I found a couple of metal can K7s, and so now these two and these two tubes are going to be metal tubes, so I don't have to worry about shielding them. I got a 6J5 ordered, and it's coming out of Texas. I haven't been notified of its shipping yet, but we'll see what we shall see. The speaker done in my typical expanding braid. We got from plug all the way up here. If you remember, there was electrical tape around these three primaries here to the audio transformer. Got rid of that, opened it up, stripped it back a little bit more, soldered it together, and went with shrink tube on individual one, and then a shrink tube over those three combined. These two were all added into that. The sleeving went on over everything up to here, and my 3-to-1 shrink tube went over that, same way with over here. So, and I scrubbed it up, dubbed it dry, that is, with a wire brush. Everything, got it oxidation off of it so that we could shoot it with some semi-gloss. So the speaker is pumped up and ready to go. So I believe that's going to be it for today. It's 4:30 and everything is I got the speaker mount removed off of this, and the old cloth stripped, and then I've cleaned it up a little bit, sanded it down, and shot a finish on it. And all I need to do now is pick the kind of speaker cloth I want to put on it. So we'll see. With the dark cabinet, I'll have to think about that. So anyway, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and leave a comment or 2 or 3 or 4. It really helps me out. We're moving on up. See you in the next video.